Boom shakalaka, what's going on, everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love. I am joined today by the legendary John McAfee. What's going on, John?
I wish I knew. I'm an old man just trying to get by and dealing with life as it comes. But it's good. We're having a blast. So
That's awesome. I got to say, this is one of the most exciting interviews I've ever done. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I remember 2-3 years ago, I saw you did an interview with Peter Saddington of Bite Size Bitcoin, and I was like, wow, that guy's awesome. And so just thank you very much for doing this today.
all right.
So there's a lot of people have a lot of questions for you, and I've asked some people in my channels. One of the big things was a recent $2 million Bitcoin prediction. So the first question is, you mentioned that it relies upon basic algebra. So what's the basic algebra behind that $2 million prediction?
Okay, well, let's correct the media. The media created $2 million. I never once said that. I did say $1 million. And then a few months ago, it got bumped to 2. I don't know who did that. It certainly wasn't me. But in any case, it's pure mathematics. Let's try to analyze it very simply. Now, there's only 21 million Bitcoins that can ever be created. 18 million have already been mined. Remaining 3 will take many years to complete. 7 million have been lost irreparably, never to be returned. And we lose 4 times as many Bitcoins every day than are mined. Now, please just run the math on that. I mean, you have a product whose demand is slowly increasing and whose supply is rapidly diminishing. Please God, I mean, if you just look at the rate of diminishment, by the end of 2020, more than half the Bitcoins will be lost. Please God. Just use your head. You have an increasing demand and then a diminishing supply, and it's already at over $5,000. Good God! In a year's time, if it's not $1 million, then mathematics no longer works.
Mm-hmm.
That's my rationale. To go into detail would take hours, but that's an overview.
Okay. So, and when you mentioned the Bitcoin $1 million prediction, a lot of times you've said that Bcash is the real Bitcoin. So there's been some confusion with. No,
I've never said Bcash is the real Bitcoin ever. If you can point to that, please do so. No, sir. See, this is all media trash again. No, I never said that. Okay. Never.
Good. So my question is, so Bitcoin reaches $1 million by the end of 2020. What happens after the $1 million Bitcoin? What do you think is going to happen with Bitcoin?
So I have no clue. It'll probably back off quite a bit, or it may go up. Listen, I did that one prediction, ran the math, and I'm not going to do any math for anything else. I'm not into Bitcoin. I'm not into anything. I don't invest in anything. I merely observe this field, comment on.
Okay, great. So the other question is, you originally said when you had a $500,000 Bitcoin that you would eat your own penis on national television if it didn't reach that by the end of 2020. Now, I saw another tweet where you said you might outsource that to some prostitutes in Bangkok.
If under the unlikely scenario that I lose, although it's mathematically impossible for me to lose. Janice is sitting next to me. I don't make bets I lose. I do not ever lose a bet. So, but if I do, under some mysterious, otherworldly circumstances where mathematics no longer functions, then I do have the right to subcontract any job. And if my job is to eat my dick, I intend to subcontract that to a team of Bangkok prostitutes that will work at it
highly trained
a day. Pardon?
A highly trained team.
Yeah. So don't worry. It'll happen. But that scenario will not happen.
Okay. Awesome. And that's pretty exciting. Like myself and a lot of other people are looking forward to that, because for it to grow that much that fast, that would be quite exciting. So a couple questions I had about you. This is actually from Biffy on the Telegram channel. He said that you often advise doing what you love. So what do you love most in life?
that changes, which is why my life changes. Here's the thing. When I said that, and I say that to everybody, that's the deepest truth I can impart. That is, do what you love, and only what you love. And if you're doing something in your life that you're not loving, for God's sake, stop. If your job, for example, if you don't wake up on Monday morning going, God, thank God it's Monday, I get to go back to work. And if on Friday you're not going, God, I wish they kept the offices open on weekend, can I work just a little bit longer? If that's not your job, then fucking quit it. Why the fuck are you doing anything you don't love? And a job, especially 40 hours a week for 40 fucking years, people. No, love it or leave it. That's the story.
So the follow-up question that a lot of people would probably have to that, because they live paycheck to paycheck, is, if I don't love my job, what am I supposed to do for money until I can have that job that I love?
Well, I don't know. You will find something. And let's just run some analysis, okay? So what do you spend your money on, people? You got to have a car because you got to commute to work, right? Sometimes you got to have two. Your wife works one place or your husband works one place. You work somewhere else. Don't have a job, fuck the car, all right? That's a big goddamn expense. If you look at the things in your clothes, well, I've got to have some business clothes, business attire. A lot of your money goes to the slave master for whom you are the slave. If you stop being the slave, stop being the slave, and then you sit quietly without worrying about how am I going to do it, because life fucking won't let you starve. If you have a brain which still functions at even close to 1/2 capacity, and if you have a body that's able to walk and opposable thumbs and fingers, you're not going to starve, people. You're going to get an idea, maybe, okay, so what I'm going to do with my life, I've been here home for 4 days, I'm bored with watching TV. You know what I've always wanted to do? Design shoelaces. Well, fuck me, do it. I promise you, if you love it, you cannot help but make money, certainly enough to live on, people. Trust me on this. Here's the problem. Everybody says the same, but what if, oh my God, if I quit this horrible job, which I hate, or at least I don't love it, then my family will starve. I don't think so. First of all, it's America, all right? Nobody really starves in America. I mean, I have been on the street, people, in America. Hang out behind McDonald's or hang out behind a very expensive steak specialist restaurant. And in the evening, when they throw all the shit away, so who cares? Are you that fickle? I mean, I've eaten after other people. I've eaten out of dumpsters. I'm still here after 74 years. But that's the extreme of it. Please, God. The fantasies in your mind about the horrors that will happen if you change your life so drastically without life support, you're all going to drown. No, nobody does. Why? Because you have a brain still, right? And a body that functions, else you wouldn't have whatever job you do have. Trust me. All right. And if I may go a little deeper, right, for those of you out there who don't love your family life. Maybe you're in love with your husband at first, but since he's had that job that he hates, he's boring as hell, and you don't know if you can put up with it anymore, but yet you do. Or you're living at home. Why? Because you have no fucking expenses, all right? And does your mom still treat you as a 12-year-old and you're 30? Move the fuck out of the house. But if you're not happy in your family, same thing. You go, oh, but if, we're living together, we're sharing expenses, we're under the same roof. So if I move out, how am I going to support myself? You'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Sound advice. So what are your driving motivations in life? And also, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, my driving motivations. like any human being, they are variable as the moon, and depending on the day. Um, if I haven't had sex for a month, although I can't remember a single time in my life when that's happened, but let's say a week, and even gets rare, then sex is going to be my driving passion. You know, if I'm starving in the desert, food is going to be my driving passion, or actually water. Here's the thing, people, you need to eat if you're out in the wilderness. No, fuck me, you need to drink. You can go 30 days without food, but if you're in the desert, no more than 3 hours without water. So in any case, my driving passion varies with the world around me. You know, I'll have one passion and dive into that as deep as I can, and maybe spend a year or just a day. And then the world changes and another problem crops up, which I want to tackle. Well, that'll be my driving passion. And for my family, my driving passion is my lovely wife, Janice.
Hello, Janice.
We've been together 7 years, and she has saved my life, literally saved my life numerous times, and then saved my life in emotional, spiritual, and other ways thousands of times. That's my passion in terms of my family. I hope that helps.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, it does. So last question about you. There's like a nasty movie about you on Netflix called Gringo. And
yes.
Have you seen that, and what's your opinion on it?
No, I haven't seen it. Where am I going to get the time to watch something that tells about a person whose shoes I have lived in my whole fucking life? I can't learn anything from it. So I don't watch documentaries on me. I don't go back and watch. Well, sometimes I do watch these things. I hear that it has a lot of interesting things. You know, it hasn't hurt me any. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. But there's another one coming out. It's not a documentary, although it covers 3 weeks of my life in Belize, called King of the Jungle. And Zac Efron just replaced Seth Rogen as the reporter, and Michael Keaton will be playing me. And it's about a 3-week period, which actually happened in 2006. No, it was 2008, where a reporter from Wired came and made a request to come and live with me for 3 weeks and write a story. And I thought, yes. When he got there, he said, "Can I spend 24 hours a day with you?" Now, most people in my position would go, "Are you fucking crazy?" No, I mean, I want to give you 2 hours a day. You can't be seeing what my life is. But I said, sure. Mm-hmm. That unraveled him, literally unraveled him. He was not prepared for my life, not as a reporter. And so, you know, he went back and wrote John McAfee's Last Stand, right? That was an ebook, extraordinary book. Joshua Davis is his name. In any case, to me, it was just 3 weeks of normality. For him, it was like being sucked into an alternate universe. And so he was incapable of comprehending whatever. I mean, here's some things that happened. Okay, so at one point, we were just sitting around the kitchen table, and he was talking about some sort of garbage that newspaper reporters always talk about. And I said, you know, here's the problem. As a newspaper reporter, you never see anything true. Because as soon as they know you're a reporter, what you're going to get is what they want you to know. What they would like you to write about them or not write about them or whatever. And he says, no, he says, I know the truth. So what I did, and he wrote this up, right? And in fact, on the ebook, it shows me with a pistol to my head. So I said, well, here, let me show you something. I pulled out my revolver. I emptied the cartridges. I picked one up, put it in the chamber, closed it, spun it, put it to my head, and pulled the trigger. And he goes, no, stop, no. He was totally fucking freaking. So I pulled the gun away, spun it again, put it in, pulled the trigger. Spun it again, pulled the trigger, and he was screaming, "Please God!" And he was not going to come anywhere near me. You know, he thinks I'm crazy anyway, and I shoot him. But he's screaming. And so finally, I spun it, put it in my head, and went click, 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 maybe 35 times. Now, then I said, "Now watch this, Josh." Took him outside, took the gun from my head, pointed at the ground, went boom, and sand splattered everywhere. So now anybody who knows anything about, you know, low-level sleight of hand magic knows exactly what I did. But even if you don't know how the magic works, you know for a fact if I click 30 sometimes, there's no bullet in the fucking chamber, is there? Let's get real, people. I mean, it's mathematics. The cylinder spins. There's only 6 rounds, 35 clicks. So now, obviously, anybody with a brain would know that, okay, that was a trick. But Josh goes, he was freaked. And so you should read that part in the story where he says, "I'm trying to stop him," and he's putting the gun to his head. Now, he did not say that I pulled the trigger 35 times. Maybe his mind totally blanked that out. I don't fucking know. So he used that as the crux of, this is how crazy John McAfee is. Playing Russian roulette with me a dozen times in front of me in his dining room, sitting at a table. Yet, please God, they don't do the brain. Oh, yeah, it's a trick. I don't know how you did it. Once you pocketed the bullet, whatever. No, here's the trick. I always, unless there's a threat coming, I have a bullet that's been fired, okay, so that the cap is not still there, because you can hurt yourself even with a cap. Take a bullet, put it back in, looks just like an ordinary bullet. But I can tell it's been fired because there's a dent in the pin. When I dumped the bullets out, I saw the one with the dent in the cap. Put it in. So I don't know how many times that bullet got clicked. Maybe 25 while we were doing that. But it didn't matter. It can't go off. It's impossible. There's no gunpowder in it, and the cap has already been busted. So, and then it was just a simple matter of sleight of hand of putting a bullet in the chamber before we went outside and going boom in the sand. Do you understand?
Yeah. That's an awesome trick.
So that's an example, and that, by the way, is an extremely mild example of the shit that I pulled on him while he was with me. I mean, mild example. He was totally unraveled and had to literally bed rest almost for a month after he left police, because the experience that he had with me, he had never dreamed of. Most of which were for his fucking benefit.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I look forward to that video coming out, that movie coming out.
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's coming out next year. And it will cover that whole 3-week period. That's all it is. His arrival and his leaving. And they're turning it into a comedy. And I can see how it could be, because it was a comedy for me. I promise you that shit. I mean, I'm with the most naive person on the planet in the most dangerous third world country on the planet, living in the interior, in the jungle, as the only white man in 15,000 people, all right, all of whom are either native or black. I'm the only white man, and living with ostentatious wealth beside a jungle river. And fuck me, imagine what adventures are going to occur there.
Yeah, and in a very, very poor country too. Yeah,
very poor country. So anyway, yeah, that's what that movie's about. I'm going to watch that one because it's a comedy, and I'm going to see if they catch the same humor that I caught with Josh. Now they changed the name from Josh Davis to something else, Harry Thurman. Okay, that's his name in the movie. It's a Wired reporter. called Ari Thurman, who comes to police to interview me, thinking it's just a normal interview assignment. All right, but I'm sorry, I'm John fucking McAfee. There's nothing ordinary in any 10 minutes of my life. So,
absolutely. If it's not exciting, yeah. I mean, pretty much everything about you is interesting. So, you just announced recently that McAfee DEX is going to be out or ready in about 6 months. So,
yes.
What exactly is McAfee DEX, and why McAfee DEX versus other DEXs out there?
Okay. Well, first of all, we do have the DEX out. It's in beta version. It's been out for 4 weeks. It's only on the Ethereum blockchain now. Tomorrow, we finally got a hard date again for Tron. Okay, we're supposed to put Tron out on Friday, but when we moved from testnet to mainnet, everything turned to shit. So anyway, it's coming out tomorrow. So we'll have Ethereum and Tron. At the end of the year, it'll be Binance, Neo, and EOS. No cross-chain transaction yet. And then the beginning of the second quarter, we'll have full cross-chain transactions between every coin in the universe and every other coin. Now, why McAfee DEX? I'm not promoting the McAfee DEX at all. We're making no money off of this. Here's why you should care. We don't ask for any information. Not your name, not your email address, no documentation. We don't care what country you are in. The United States, England, Tierra del Fuego, we could care less. We keep no one's money. We don't take anybody's money. We don't hold anybody's money or tokens. Everything is peer-to-peer, everything, through the DEX. It's smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain and now on the Tron blockchain and on every other, meaning you can't shut it down. I can't stop it. It's fully decentralized because we have no control over anything. Listing is free. Do you want to list a coin? You can go to Binance and pay $75,000 up to $1 million, depending on what they have to do. Or you can push the button on the McAfee DEX and put all the technical specs in, and you're listed for free. We don't charge any maker fees and only 1/4 of 1% on taker fees, which has not even yet funded our development, nor will it. But that's not the point. The point is, I have given something to the people which is fully anonymous, can't ever be shut down, fully distributed. The McAfeeDex.com, if they steal the name or the U.S. government takes it back or takes it away, I don't care. Take it. Doesn't do anything. We already have 30 other portals around the world up and running, 100 by the end of the year and 1,000 by the end of next year. It can't be shut down, can't be controlled. You're strictly peer-to-peer. And if you're using privacy coins and McAfee DEX, you're free, people, from any governmental or regulatory body control. No institution can stop what you're doing, and what you're doing, modify what you're doing, collect information on what you're doing, because nobody knows who you are and what you're doing. So this is my gift, and we are sticking with this until we get all blockchains. Bitcoin is going to be a hard one, people. It was the first one. It's an old technology and does not support smart contracts. So we'll probably have to do something like atomic swaps, which will make a Bitcoin transaction take hours, okay, instead of minutes. However, but we will have everything. And that's that. If you want to give your information, if you want to adhere to the KYC and the money laundering, go ahead. That's your business. But if you think that's utter nonsense, which it is, why is it your job? Or why should you be burdened as a free individual? Because the government wants to catch criminals. Even though you're not a criminal, they want the criminals, but they're saying, listen, if we give you that anonymity and that freedom, we have to give it to the criminals. And in criminals, do you see the inversion of logic? The perverse logic imposed on the citizens, which we buy up. Oh, yes, of course we have to stop criminals. Yes, that's what the FBI is for. Let them do the fucking work. Is it your job? I don't think so. It is certainly not mine. And I will not cripple my inventions and my creations in order to satisfy a paranoid government fearful of losing its income through taxation. Because how the hell are they going to tax you if they don't know anything about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like what you said in a conference you were speaking about a little while back, where you're talking about how income taxes are unconstitutional, about how they haven't been around, how they weren't around until 1913, and then now most people work 4 months of the year just to pay the government.
Well, it's slavery. It's theft. It really is. Let me tell you why this happened, okay? The government, the American government, has never been the most efficient nor the most creative of governments in the world, all right? And one of the hardest things governments have to do is figure out how to fund themselves. So somebody back in 1912 got this great idea. Whoa, listen to this idea, folks. You're not going to believe it. Currently, we have to employ 150,000 clerks just to collect and add up everything. And what if we made the citizens do that for us? What if we said, you have to give us a list of everything itemized with documentation? Make them collect all that shit. Make them add it up. Even they'll probably create these services to do it for them, okay? But who cares? We don't have to do it anymore. Our only obligation as a government collection agency is to take the fucking checks and put them in the bank. Please, do you see it? Do you see this incredible joke that was played on the U.S. citizens, which nobody saw? Now, this is the big thing about income tax. Collecting revenue without spending a fucking dime, without spending any effort, without using your mind, without creating anything. Sit back and on the 1st of April, take these checks and would you run across the street and put them in the bank? That's all they do. For God's sake, let's wake up, America.
Mm-hmm. And now we have the ability to take back our power.
Yes, we do. And what I have done is one piece of that, because you have to have exchanges, and exchanges have always been our weak point. You can see it now where everybody's having to cooperate with the SEC, and pretty soon crypto will be just like the Fed, only run by the government. So what this does is it prevents them from being able to shut it down. In China, 2 years ago, shut down every exchange in China overnight. How do they do it? They're centralized. They have an office. They have servers. They have employees. So how easy is it? 24 hours to shut down every exchange in China. Send the soldiers in, shut them down. Try to shut down the McAfee DEX, please God. I mean, collecting me, because now I've got more people trying to collect me, okay? Because collecting me is not going to shut it down. Understand this, please. I mean, this is not a plea to the U.S. government to stop chasing. No, I'm not that much of a fucking wimp. Nevertheless, it is a statement of understanding that, yeah, you may collect me. It's going to be hard, but you might. But you can't stop what I've created. It will live forever on the blockchains. And what I've created is flexible enough to add to, not in a negative way, but only in a positive way, by adding more features with the same lack of constraints. We don't know who you are. We don't care who you are. Now, you might be a criminal laundering money. Well, it's not my job to find out. Is it? No. I don't know law-abiding citizens from none. Neither should I care. Because if, in fact, I should care, well, then every technology should care. I mean, why the fuck are we creating automobiles because bank robbers use them as getaway cars. Shut down all the American automobile plants. Why should we have telephones? Because the mob uses them to coordinate crimes. Take away the phones. Do you understand the shift? What happened is technology, because the government fears technology. And this, the blockchain and crypto and everything that sprang from it, is the only technology in the past 100 years that has come from the people and not from the government or from a major corrupt corporation. No, it came from a half dozen individuals working over a 5-year period, cooperating. Now, some people say they don't know who wrote the white paper, but it's one of those motherfuckers, Drew Strauss or something. I know which one it is. I've analyzed their white paper, their other white papers. So, but that doesn't matter. They're still normal people. Weren't working for the government. Weren't working for a large corporation. Bunch of geeks having fun. It's ours, the people's, because they gave it away in open source. So it's ours. It was given to us. And we, please God, cannot then give this up to the government that we are trying to make smaller and less oppressive. You're just giving them another machine gun in their arsenal to keep us in our cages.
Mm-hmm. So who do you think is Satoshi?
I'm sorry?
Who do you think is Satoshi?
I know who Satoshi is.
Yeah?
What?
Have you received any hints?
I don't know what's wrong. This is what's wrong with our society. People just don't bother to spend a little time. We don't want to know, who is he? Who is he? Must be a mystery. Must be this. Maybe it's the CIA. Google, spend an hour Googling the history of Bitcoin. It gives you all the names that could possibly have been involved. All right. And if you want to know who Satoshi is, well, the white paper, for example, every word that has dual spellings in British and American English, use the British spelling. Clue number one. Clue number two, every single sentence in the white paper, every one, has 2 spaces after it instead of the one, which is the norm. So I just went through, looked at everybody's writings because they're all, it's the internet, guys. You can Google and find out what everything someone's written. Got the names, only 2 of which were British. Only 2. Of those 2, only 1 double space after a fucking period. Now, that's just a very crude analysis. I've actually run authorship software against it, and 99% certainty it is okay. One of that group. Now, people say, well, tell us who it is. This is another thing that amazes me, is the naivete of the world's citizenry. Oh, yeah, just tell us. Do you realize what would happen to this person if their identity were revealed? Now, one of the wealthiest people on the planet, every single criminal group in the world that specializes in kidnapping rich people, torturing them, and getting them to spill their keys. I have a good friend who this actually happened to. Actually, 2 that it happened to. Good God, it would ruin their life. They've chosen to remain anonymous for their own reasons. They must be good. Far be it from me, even though I did speak to this gentleman. And he was the one that actually brought this up. He said, listen, he didn't admit it, but he said, whoever it is, you have to understand, this is what would happen. And then he said, plus, you may think you're 99.99% correct, but what would happen to that person if you revealed his name and it was not that person? I would have totally destroyed an innocent, irrelevant person's life. And the real Satoshi, obviously, if he were revealed, would have enough money to surround himself with hundreds of armed soldiers 24 hours a day, a hell of a way to have to live. What about if he wasn't? Some plumber somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He would have a life expectancy measured in minutes. So I go, well, okay. Well, I apologize for even thinking about mentioning anybody's name. It was foolish on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
All right. Yeah. What's it like to be such a smart guy?
What's that?
What's it like to be such a smart guy?
Smart?
Yeah.
Dude, let me show you. If I was a smart guy, would I be having to communicate in a fucking Faraday cage? I mean, smart men, structure their lives so that they get to communicate from the luxury of their living room, which I don't. I've got to leave my fucking living room to come into this metallic, metal floor, metal walls, metal ceiling thing, which is hard to keep at a constant temperature, by the way. I mean, all the heat's reflected back off the walls. No, I mean, I'd be there. I'd be talking to you with my feet up and smoking a cigar or something. We can't smoke in this room, too much equipment. So, no, smart? Why did you say smart? Is it because I talk eloquently? I mean, a third grader can learn that in 6 months with the appropriate courses on the internet. People all say that you're so smart. I don't perceive that.
Mm-hmm.
I just perceive in me an individual that has lived as I want, doing what I love. And as a result, things happen to me which don't happen to ordinary people. And those inputs haven't made me smarter. They've just broadened my awareness of the possibilities of this infinite existence around us.
Mm-hmm.
Is that smart? I don't know.
I would say so, but that's my opinion. So back to the freedom and privacy that you get from decentralized exchanges. So if you use privacy coins, if you use a decentralized exchange, then you basically have your financial freedom from any government.
If you want, I mean, I'm not suggesting that you go out and break laws, stop paying taxes, but if you read the Constitution, and I'm talking to American citizens now, my apologies, the rest of the world, but this may apply even in the rest of the world. In America, income taxes are illegal by our Constitution. They specifically say Congress shall enact no laws that would inhibit or impair a citizen's ability to make a living. Now, earning money is how you make a living in this day and age. And if the government says, hey, I'm going to take 25% of that right now, does that impair my ability to feed my family? I was planning on getting 100 potatoes this month because that's what my family eats, but now I can only buy 75. If that does not impair my ability to make a fucking living, then what does, people? So it is theft and slavery, because the other way you need to look at this is, why don't you take the 12 months of the year and pick out 3 or 4, depending on your level of taxation, maybe just 2. Pick those 2 months and realize you are working exclusively for the government, not for yourself, not for your family, not for your toys, no, for the fucking government. And if they do not return to you that much money in services, then you're getting fucked, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an entire season. Like, not only is winter cold and brutal and cloudy, but also the whole winter you're working for the government.
Yeah. So in any case, the question was, well, what's the question? No, okay. So if you want to use privacy coins and distributed exchanges, yes, you can free yourself from that unjust and illegal law passed by Congress, not for your benefit, but to line their fucking pockets, then use privacy coins and distributed exchanges, and just don't tell them anything. Or file a return going, as best I can remember, I made $30 this year. Thank you. Whatever requires the least amount of paperwork, okay? Not filing requires the least, and I haven't done that in 10 years. Now, of course, they're after me. Not for the first 8 years. They were perfectly happy. I sent them letters going, or emails going, I'm not John McAfee to my Social Security number. I'm not filing taxes again this year. I don't intend to file taxes again. You know where I live. If there are problems, come and tell me. They never came. I've paid over $50 million in taxes in my life. Please God, is that not enough? Because I promise you, I have not received $50 million in services from the U.S. government. In any case, then yes, use privacy exchanges. Don't say anything, and free yourself at least from taxation, and you're simultaneously freeing yourself from the observation and surveillance of that perpetual surveillance state in America called the CIA, NSA, military intelligence, those people who want to know, even though you're a good, upstanding citizen, maybe you won't be tomorrow. So we got to watch your sorry ass because you terrify us. Every citizen terrifies them. We might be the thing that brings them down.
So that's actually one of the questions that I have for you is, so we're being watched all over. We basically have no privacy anymore. And I would call you a cybersecurity expert. What can we do to protect our privacy?
Okay, well, I don't know if I'm still a cybersecurity expert. I was certainly one of the leading ones in the world, and I built the largest cybersecurity company. But I think I still understand it enough to say you have none. You can't get any. You are monitored by everyone. Even the companies that you do business with, Google, Facebook, and Twitter, that's your social media. You have no privacy while you're on there, that is for sure. And they're taking metadata and God knows what else. And who's getting it in the end? The covert agencies within the U.S. government, including the FBI, the prime recipient of all information on American citizens. So if the CIA wants to know what all Americans are doing, and if the FBI wants to know what all Americans are doing, I promise you, you've lost your privacy. Now, you don't have 400 million people sitting listening to 400 million people, no. But you have some massive supercomputers that are monitoring all digital and audio and now visual traffic, looking for keywords: bomb, terrorist, Osama bin Laden, Trump, or
so this video is getting flagged.
Epstein. The worst one is don't ever use the word McAfee because you will be monitored forever. All right, I'm telling you now. So these things, they're monitoring. So when it happens, it gets kicked up a higher level, and some more sophisticated AI goes back 10 minutes and starts comparing, and they'll go, "Now this is nothing," or I don't know, it might be something. Eventually, a human is sitting waiting for the system to kick shit out and goes, this guy said the word John McAfee in a context which we don't like. I think he said, didn't he say, "You're a good friend of mine"? Yeah, I heard him say that. All right, now we want 12 agents following this motherfucker forever. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That is where we live, and I wish I had a solution. I don't. The solution is we need laws to prohibit mass surveillance. Good God, people, this is the beginning of a police totalitarian state. This is how it began in Germany. How did Hitler maintain his control? by convincing children to turn in their parents for state crimes. It's happening now, only we don't need children to turn in our parents. Our smartphones turn us in. Much more efficient.
Mm. Yeah. So this question I have been wondering about for a long time. You created McAfee antivirus. So I've always been curious, do antivirus companies create viruses to give themselves more business?
Now, I know that's a popular myth, but I was there at the time. I will tell you now, after the first virus came out in 1987, that was the Pakistani brain, no one anticipated the fact that those misfits in society who really are bored, maybe they're the ones living at home with their moms, but they're smart technically, and every girlfriend they've ever had jilted them, or vice versa, and they're geeky and can't seem to have fun at parties, can get back at the world by writing fucking viruses. Within 2 months, there were 10 viruses a day popping up. Do you think any businessman is that stupid to spend 6 months, 6 man-months of effort to write one virus so that they can fix it when they've got 300 a month coming in? No. Please. Those are the reality. Then just use your common sense to decide one way or the other what you think.
Uh-huh. And is it true you created it in a day and a half? The original.
I'm sorry?
Is it true you created the original McAfee antivirus in a day and a half?
In about 40 hours, almost 2 days, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I had help from a friend, but yeah.
Very cool. So what do you think about the future of cryptocurrency? What do you think it's going to look like?
Let's start with the things that we know. A cryptocurrency is the ultimate Pandora's box that has been opened. It is not going to go back in the box. And it is, in every way, mathematically and from a time standpoint, efficiency standpoint, vastly superior to anything that the banking institutions, that governments, that anything in the world has seen before. So it will replace fiat. We know this. It just will. How it replaces it is going to depend on our common sense as the people. For example, one certainty is Libra-like coins are going to start emerging from every government in the world. The government's thinking, okay, here's how we put a stop to this shit. We create our own cryptocurrency. But now, you can create cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrencies. The ones that governments will create, and Libra did create, were cryptocurrencies that instead of freeing you, they just more confined you. So that instantly, if some government wants to know, okay, is McAfee writing checks to anybody for plumbing gear, right? No, they're going to know the instant I press OK. I want to buy that pipe wrench, right? Please God, people, get real. Or the other path, which is we, the people, created this. And we, the people, should own this. I don't mean own Bitcoin or own in terms of it's our thing. And it is the thing that can free us. One path is where the U.S. government says, here's the crypto dollar, and you must use this and only this. We all go, okay, no problem. Just like the government goes, marijuana is evil and illegal, and you will not smoke it. Did that stop anybody from stopping something? I don't think so. And when they say you must use the crypto dollar, I don't think that's going to stop many people. So it could make many people stop using the true cryptocurrency that belongs to the people. So the future of cryptocurrency, there are two paths, my friends. Which one will you choose?
That's awesome. I like that. So,
and I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, that was actually the end of it. I was just going to say anything else you'd like to say to people.
Oh, no. Perfect. Well, perfect time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anything
All right,
else you'd like to say to people?
I'm sorry?
Anything else you'd like to say to people?
Yes, absolutely. Do what you love and only what you love. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.